Good morning. Welcome to the Cohn Phone. My name is Grant Cohn, and the 49ers just lost another Super Bowl. That's the third one they've lost under Jed York. Who are you mad at? Jed? Kyle? Steve Wilkes? It was all Steve's fault. Brock Purdy? Or are you mad? Are you actually happy that the 49ers made it to the Super Bowl and gave it their best shot and almost won? Came close. And hell, they'll be back next year. Stronger than ever. I'd like to know what you think. Right now, we got one person in the queue waiting to talk. Guess who it is? Oh, you already know. The most punctual member of Cohn Phone history, a Hall of Famer, a jersey in the rafters, number retired, straight out of Milwaukee. He is Korean Niner. What's up, man?
I'm good, Grant. How are you doing today?
You show up. You're the most consistent person I've ever met.
I try my
If
best.
only Deebo Samuel and Kyle Shanahan showed up as much as you do.
We'll see what happens.
See what happens.
Couple topics I'd like to talk to you about, Grant. First off, the 49ers are no longer the gold standard that Eddie DeBartolo once had the franchise at during his ownership time.
No.
I mean, I believe yes, Kansas City is. I believe at one time Walruna was on a while back said for a 20-year period from 1981 to 2000, the 49ers had the highest winning percentage at the time in the NFL, which is right around 65%, which is pretty impressive. To me, Eddie fired George Seifert. I believe you and your dad talked about this on that emergency cone zone. And George Seifert won 2 Super Bowls. I don't think Eddie would put up or tolerate with a coach not being prepared for whatever could happen. Not saying that, if you get a quarterback hurt because, he was rolling around and, he's a running back and can't protect himself from a 240-pound linebacker, that's one thing. But, how do you not know in case of overtime that Kansas City has the ball? I always get the ball second because I have to know what they're going to do first.
Right? I mean, yeah. That way you have the ability to end the game. And people keep saying like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter because the Niners defense was going to have to make a stop at some point and they didn't in overtime. Like, no, you didn't. The Niners defense literally could have given up a touchdown on the first drive of overtime. Then the Niners offense could have gotten the ball, driven down the field, scored a touchdown, gone for 2, converted, end of the game. That's what the Chiefs were going to do.
Absolutely. You can see Mahomes is like, what are they doing over there? It's like, it's not
they
like
were laughing at the Niners. It's one thing to get blown out in the fourth quarter against the Chiefs 4 years ago. That sucks, but I don't think it's necessarily embarrassing. But to not know the rules and to get laughed off the field by the other team, that's embarrassing. And then all the mic'd up stuff that's come out after it, like George Kittle talking to George Karlaftis during the play before the whistle's been blown, right before Karlaftis jumps on the fumble that Kittle could have jumped on if he was paying attention. Like, that's embarrassing. There's all kind of embarrassing. All the clips of Deebo Samuel completely incapable of beating man-to-man coverage. That's embarrassing. The 49ers offensive scheme giving up free rushers like 10 times. Embarrassing. That was an embarrassing loss, and maybe the most embarrassing loss I've ever seen in any sport. I can't think of another loss where not knowing a rule factored so heavily into the final decision in any sport.
Yeah, as they say, my dad was in the military, and his squad leader always asked, "Does anybody have any questions?" My dad was the first to raise his hand because squad leader always said, if no one raises their hand, then everyone's thinking the same, and that's scary. I want someone who's actually kind of on the ball and, be willing to ask a tough question and say, oh, let's talk about this and find out what's going on. My last topic is
real quick. Wait, I'll let you do it. But how old are you?
43.
43. Okay, so you're older than me. You remember? Sorry about that. You remember the timeout by Chris Webber, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this was in the Final Four. Was it in the I was like 4 or 5. I was like 5 years old, so it's a little before my time. But he called. Essentially, he was at Michigan. It was in the Final Four of the national championship, and it was at the end of the game. And he got nervous and called a timeout they didn't have. The other team got a technical and won. That was the most embarrassing loss of all time.
That was pretty
bad. Is up there.
It's up there.
This is professional sports. He was an amateur athlete. He was an amateur athlete. Kyle Shanahan is a professional football team that's been thinking about their revenge that they were going to have on the league for years. They get to the moment and they don't know the rule.
That's inexcusable in my mind.
The coin flip. It's the coin flip game. It's the coin flip game. It's the coin flip game. That's what it is.
I thought
in 20 years, if I say, hey, Korean Niner, remember the coin flip game? You'd be like, don't remind me. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I thought that was as bad as that Lions game where I think it was the Steelers and they called one, that coin toss.
Yeah.
Jerome Bettis called it. And
called heads and they said tails. Yeah, that was fun. I remember that. That was like 30 years ago.
It was a while back. But at least Bettis got his ring, so I can't.
Okay, was there another thing you wanted to say? Because I cut you off.
It's all right. This team needs to at least start thinking about an overhaul, if not a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Your right side of the offensive line, it's nice to have Colton McKivitz, who's not getting paid a lot of money, and Spencer Burford. Hopefully Burford gets better and improves during his, during the offseason. But, we don't have a reliable offensive line because you could see that the Chiefs are just blitzing us, when the blitz is coming and you can't stop it, or that's kind of bad.
Kind of bad. I agree. There needs to be some serious changes. And to me, firing Steve Wilks is not a serious change. That's just a sacrificial lamb. Okay, the team is mad. Oh, let's fire him. Are you happy? Who do you want? I mean, just like they could hire Brandon Staley. Is that the missing piece? Or they could promote someone from within. Is that the missing piece? Like, they need to do so much more than swap out a D coordinator. This defense gave up 17.5 points last year. It's not the issue.
Steve Wilks wasn't the issue. You came in trying to put in his system, but of course he got the short end of the stick on everything. So if I was him, I'm like, man, this was a mess. What the hell am I doing here? And go play golf for a year. Take some time off and not think about it.
I feel you.
So I'm going to take a little bit of time during the off season. So I will be watching the Cohn Zone, since that is my favorite show, and also with Jesse too.
Okay. Well, look, if you don't call into the Cohn phone, I won't take it personally. I'll see you when I see you, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yep.
All right.
No problem. Thank you, Grant.
All right. Take care. Take some super chats, and I'm going to get to the next guy. Niner gang, are you ready? Turn on your camera. Can't be coming on here with no camera. All right, yeah, what's up? Dave Barclay, 100% agree standards are not the same anymore. It's funny. Rob Stats Guerrera does a show with me on Wednesdays. His network is called The Gold Standard. It's like, oh, you have a Kansas City Chiefs podcast? Sorry, I love you, Rob, but Niners aren't the gold standard anymore. It's Kyle's fault. Fish and chips. We feel like we have been sucker punched by Kid Kyle. Dream Z24, thoughts on either Kirk or JJ McCarthy to the Niners? No on Kirk. And then JJ McCarthy, he's going to be a first round pick, right? No. I would be cool with them taking another quarterback in the draft, but not in round one. I wouldn't do that. And I say that really not knowing about any of these quarterbacks yet. So don't hold me to that. Don't clip this and put it on Twitter if I say the Niners should take a quarterback in round one in a month, okay? I might change my mind. I don't like JJ McCarthy, though. Would he throw like 500 passes in college? That's not getting it done. Can we get a fire Kyle 2 going? Jed's soft, bro. My dad said to fire his ass last year. Jed, where your daddy at? I said to trade him last year. You guys didn't believe me. Then he went and, I mean, you could argue the Niners should be back-to-back Super Bowl champions right now, but you know who is? The Chiefs. You know why? Because they don't have Kyle Shanahan. Sorry. I'm sorry. You guys are grieving. This is not funny. Serious. I'm serious. I'm sorry. I apologize. Look, I did the best I could as quality control. It didn't come through. I take full responsibility for my part. I'll do better next time. Speechless, huh? I feel it, dude. I'm sorry. Let's just sit here for a second. What do you say after a loss like that?
What can you say?
What do you say?
There ain't nothing you can say other than do your homework, bro.
Yeah, man. I don't know what to tell you.
You
gotta do your homework.
Maybe you should have been reading the rule book instead of out there hanging out in the clubs, having a few drinks. I mean, when they ask Andy Reid what he does, He ain't going to Cabo. He ain't out in the clubs. He ain't trying to, do all that fun stuff until after the game. He heard his speech in the locker room. Now let's go party. Now, keyword now, not before, now.
Also, is Andy Reid trying so hard to like be friends with the players and party with the players and act like he's 24? No, he's in his 60s and he acts like it.
Andy Reid has a mindset of, you know what? I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to do my job. And if I make some friends along the way, cool. But if not, oh well. This is my team. I'm going to run it. And this is what it is. Kyle Shanahan is not the head coach of that team. The players are the head coach of the team. A selected
I agree.
team.
I agree. Nick Bosa has ultimate power on this team.
Fred Warner doesn't have too much power. George Kittle is a major driving factor on this.
Nick Bosa is like, remember in Gladiator, the emperor sitting in the Coliseums watching, standing up, being like, "You're done, Steve Wilkes. Sorry." Without even really talking. Yeah, we weren't really that prepared. You're done.
Okay, let me ask you about this Steve Wilkes thing. Do you think this was all one? I kind of think he really got scapegoated big time, but was this all foundation? Did Kyle Shanahan lay this foundation before the Super Bowl? Because there was this article came out that he helped with the defensive plan, right? Okay. And the defense, everybody can agree that they seem to look the best they've looked throughout the whole entire season in that Super Bowl. But to like everything else with Kyle Shanahan's offense, his script always comes out looking good, right? Once that script's up, everything kind of falls apart. He can't adjust on the fly. That's almost kind of seems how our defense went, right? If he did have his hand on that defense, they came out, they played, they held Mahomes to 19 in regulation, which in most reality, that's a W. And then all of a sudden it went to crap. Did Steve Wilkes feel like his hands were tied because Shanahan had
I don't know, man. Here's how I see it. Tell me if you see it differently. Everyone's kind of using innuendo. Say like it was a bad fit, and it's all the implication is it's a scheme issue. Wilkes didn't understand the scheme. Like all I know is when the defense played hard, they were great. They were great, and they played hard in the Super Bowl for 4 quarters. They were great. The issue with this defense all season was not schematic to me. It was effort. Which is inexcusable because it was across the board. It wasn't just, Ambry Thomas or some backups in there. It was Nick Bosa. It was Fred Warner. It was inconsistent from everyone across the board. And they could say, well, they were like displeased with the coordinator or they had some issue. Don't care. You're a professional making a lot of money. Efforts is non-negotiable, as John Lynch would say. It's non-negotiable. And yet that was a problem for you in the NFC Championship game. Look in the freaking mirror. Look in the mirror. You don't need a coach to tell you to play hard. Nick, Fred, you don't need that. You're the captain.
I coach elementary sports. If my players are not giving 100% effort, you get to ride the bench. Keep the bench.
Someone else can give effort and show you how it's done. And when you're ready, you can come back in and play and you see how it's done. Now you see what you got, what it takes.
And time again, Kyle Shanahan let these guys, I'm not going to call them out by names. We all know who they are. Let them go from game to game. If it's not this guy not giving effort, it's the next guy. Bench all them suckers. Bring out some of these rookies and let's see what we got in them. Let's see what we have.
I hate to say it, but when you have effort issues from guys making $20 million a year, 34 million a year, I don't know what to tell you. And then they're blaming the coach. That's diva behavior. Like this defense has become a bunch of divas, highly paid divas who don't play as hard as they used to and blame other people. I hate to be that blunt, but they're not as good as they think they are. And they're going to blame Steve Wilkes for that. No. Look in the mirror, all of you. You don't play hard enough. You don't play that hard against the run. Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Randy Gregory, all you guys. Like you guys can't set an edge to save your lives. There's nothing Steve Wilkes can do about that. That's on you.
That's player flaws.
It's on you.
Effort flaws.
Sorry.
I don't think the offense is good as everybody thinks it is, Grant. I really don't. I don't think this team was as good as everybody thought it was. You can go back and check. I called it at one point in the season.
They're money when they play NFC teams.
That exactly to yours and your dad's point, right? There's NFC tough, there's AFC tough, and that's just what it is. And Niners almost got their butt kicked by Detroit, which Detroit, they're tough. They're tough. Had that coach not pulled the Kyle Shanahan, we wouldn't even have been where we was at.
I got to keep it moving, man. You're always great. Always great, man. Take care. I love the long silence to start it too. It was very good. Excellent stuff. Good stuff. He's good. He's good. I mean, he brought it. He was a lot more prepared than the Niners were. Can we get a fire count? Sue, Jay, where you at? Hold on. Tech TDs and Tap says, what are they going to do with Darnold and Brandon Allen? Who cares? Let them go. I'm sorry, Sam and Brandon. Very nice people. But draft some quarterbacks. Let Sam Darnold go be a starter somewhere. Sam Darnold held the door open for me in the locker room and was cool about it. So I don't want to be snarky. I got to stop being snarky. These guys are like 10 years younger than me. Gotta be nicer. Yeah. I wish them all the best. Sam, go be a starter somewhere. Brandon Allen, go be a backup somewhere. Niners, draft a guy. Moody was 5 of 6 on 50 plus with 2 of the 5 longest in Super Bowl history. If Gold were kicker, would lose the Packers game, wouldn't have even tried the 52-yarder. Says Mark. How about this though? If Gold was the kicker, they'd be going for it instead of kicking 55-yarders. Do you want the Niners to kick a 55-yard field goal or to go for it on 4th and 4? I think Jake Moody brought out the worst in Kyle Shanahan. You need a guy who's money inside 45. That's all you need. You don't need a guy who encourages Kyle Shanahan to kick 55-yard field goals because he will. Conservative. Dream says, can't believe they ran Trey out just to lose again. James R. Guy says, Grant, how do you feel about possibly trading Brandon Ayuk and getting Marvin Harrison Jr.? Hey, man, if they get Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm all for it. I don't think you can. That guy's going to be a top 5 pick. But yeah, if you get Brandon Ayuk for Marvin Harrison Jr. straight up, do that. Hell yeah. If Niners start 0-2, how much is Mike's job on the line now? Mike Shanahan Jr.? I don't know. You tell me. One more, and then I'm getting to PNW, then EMA Beats, then Payo Time, then Bailey Lunn, then Ethan. Hakeem the Dream says Alex Smith as head coach, Greg Roman as OC, and Mike Vrabel as DC. Smith would be a great coach. Let's let him work his way up. Good coaches work their way up. Jim Harbaugh was a quarterback coach with the Raiders, and he was a head coach at University of San Diego. Then he was a head coach at Stanford. You got to work your way up. Just saying. All right, PNW Niner Dylan. What's up?
What's up, Grant? How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm all right. I listen to you a lot, man. I feel like I know you, but hey, it's first time on, so it's kind of funny.
All right.
Yeah. So all I got to say is they got my hopes up on this one.
Yeah,
they really did. This
believe
whole year was like it was like our year, and up until like honestly like the third quarter, I felt like they had it, Even though that offense wasn't rolling, I just feel like they were playing better. I thought they were the better team through that first half. But yeah, they got my hopes up on that one.
Did you put money on the Niners in this game?
I did not. I put money on them. I put money on them the two previous games, but this one I just had more confidence in the Chiefs.
Money on this game and they lost because they didn't know the rules in overtime. That would be a tough one.
Yeah. So I got a comment on the overtime.
Okay.
I know you've been like killing them for it, but dude, that defense looked tired, man. Yeah. They were tired. I felt like there was a problem. I don't know if that was their decision all along, then I get it. But I just felt like putting that defense right back out there. The Chiefs were going to score right there, and that would have put so much pressure on an offense that wasn't looking good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get that, right?
I do get it. But I mean, they ended up giving up a touchdown anyway. So in retrospect, they were going to give up a touchdown one way or another. And I think, what did Kyle Shanahan say? Like, I thought it was a field goal game. Ooh, famous last words. Like, no.
Yeah.
This is Patrick Mahomes in the overtime of a Super Bowl. Maybe you just assume that your defense is going to be tired and give up the touchdown and get the ball second. So you can end the game. He kept talking about a third possession. No,
I get that part. I just feel like putting that defense right back out there, they're going to score. One more thing. I
hate to talk over you. It's fine. If that's your reason, fine. But Kyle was asked straight up after the game if that was his reason. He said no. So then the next day, John Lynch was like, "Well, psych, it was our reason." It's like, all right, well, at least
I feel like Kyle.
Story.
Yeah, I feel like Kyle probably his decision all along would have been to put the offense out there.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's probably what his decision would have been, regardless. I just feel like in the moment, I probably would have made the same decision just because of me looking at that defense. They look tired. They were probably going to get scored on. Then once they're scored on, we got to go score. And I don't think that's going to happen.
That's fair. But I think the reason he's getting crushed, and when I say getting crushed, I'm crushing him. I won't use the passive voice. The reason I'm crushing him is not because I disagreed with his strategy. It's because I believe he didn't know the rule.
Yeah, I get it.
Like,
I get why you're. I get it.
Rule, I thought about it. I think he made the right call. Sure. You can make that argument, but I don't think he knew the rule.
Yeah, you might be right.
I don't think
you might be right. Obviously, the players didn't. You know,
yeah, exactly.
They're all saying they didn't know it, so they didn't go over it. So,
and Kyle had that one slip where before he came to all of us, he spoke to someone on the sideline and said, "I was really hoping we wouldn't give Mahomes that last possession."
He's gonna get the last possession. They're going for 2, and I don't think that they know that they're going for 2 there. But if I'm the second team with the ball, I'm probably going for 2 just to win the game. You know,
you think
too easy to get a field goal.
To convert this 2-point conversion with Patrick Mahomes, or to stop the Niners from kicking a field goal.
Right, you're gonna kick a field goal. You're gonna put it in Mahomes' hands.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right,
I don't. Yeah, like
sorry.
Just Kyle. Probably not knowing the rule is why I'm tending to agree with you. I just don't necessarily want to kill him for making that decision in the moment if that was his call. Fair. But I don't know that he knew the rule, and that's probably going to kill him. You know,
we'll find out one day, maybe.
Yeah,
we'll find out one day.
Well, we'll find out from Jed, right? We'll find out from Jed like 10 years down the road.
Good call. We got to get Jed in front of the mic. All right, man. Good to see you.
All right. See you, Grant.
Some good calls today, man. Some new people, some strong calls. Abu Marco 23. Purdy proved he can come back, Lions, Packers, and deliver multiple leads against an elite defense with pedestrian weapons. Super Bowl Avengers were a no-show, and O-line was horrible. Props to him. Yeah, props to Purdy. The more you watch that film and you watch all the free rushers and all the struggles the Niners had beating man-to-man coverage, he did a really good job not losing the game. Not taking a bunch of sacks, not turning the ball over, finding ways to make some plays. I mean, I think he played better than I thought. I gave him a B. I think I'd give him B plus A- after watching the film. What do you guys think? Remember for 6 months, fish and chips. Love you, man. Gold Tau. Jimmy could have lost that game just as well with CMC. Yeah, true. For a lot more money, though. Official Bit of Music 88 says, if they replace Wilkes with Staley, the mental gymnastics to explain it as a good hire will be comical. Maybe 2 Chark artists can offset each other. Yeah, like, what is Staley? I mean, it's the same situation. You're bringing an outsider in. He can't bring his own position coaches with him. He's learning a system he doesn't know. Why is this going to work? Also, doesn't Joey Bosa not like him? Coached him. Fish and chips. Kyle passed the responsibility to Wilkes and OT. That's what he does. Okay, EMA Beats, Payo Time, Bailey Lund. That's the next 3. EMA Beats, are you ready? Turn your camera on if you are. All right, cool. What's up? How you doing?
What's up, man? I'm good, man. How you doing? How you been?
I'm all right, man. Hanging in there. How about you? Good.
Not as good, man. I know you got a lot of content for the off season, so this is always a pleasant
yeah
experience.
True.
I mean, it's not funny, but it is because he blew it again. The infamous Kyle Shanahan blew it again
in like a new way and a more painful way. This is incredible the way he lost this one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, hold on, because he messed up in the beginning. Like he was facing all this man-to-man coverage. Alex Rollins just made a really good video explaining it. Facing all this man-to-man coverage and decides to go to Debo to beat it. Like, no. Ayuk, go to Ayuk. You have the best, like one of the best man-to-man coverage beaters in the league, and you're forcing it to Debo. Okay, so you commit all those sins, and you still get another chance in overtime. And what do? Blow it before it starts. Sorry, go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. There was a lot of holding in the secondary on the Chiefs. I mean, both sides of the ball. I've seen so many videos. It's kind of crazy. And the fact that they've won 3 Super Bowls and there's not been one holding penalty. I mean, does that not?
That's an incredible statistic, and really to the shame of the league. It's like, so this team can. No wonder they have awful offensive tackles this year. It's like, oh, we're allowed to hold. Okay, well, we're not going to invest in that position. We're just going to tell them we get to hold on this team.
And apparently during the season they were ranked in the top holding penalties as far as in the regular season, but none in the
but they knew. It's like, don't worry, once the playoffs start, we're going to get a whole different set of rules. We run this league. We got Taylor Swift on our team. Are you kidding? We got this.
Right. Tay in the building.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. And I honestly I can't congratulate the Chiefs or do any of that kind of stuff just because of the way it was done. Not saying that it was totally on them and because they were favored and as far as with the referees and all of that it's their fault. But it's like I would be like, damn, you guys, we just got away with another one. I wouldn't be as gloated. I wouldn't be gloating as much and be so, like, oh, we knew we were going to do this the whole time. The arrogance is kind of crazy because for the majority of the game, they were locked.
Yeah.
Steve Wilks did not coach a bad game until like the last drive of the fourth quarter and in overtime. That's when he started to kind of, fall off. There were some missed tackles, some missed assignments by guys. But if you looked at all of the videos and the replays of a holding on the defensive, I mean, Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Fred Warner, there was holding everywhere, but
True.
The referee letting them get.
If that's what it's going to be, if that's what it was in the Super Bowl 4 years ago, this time, like, are you going to keep investing in D-line? Are you going to be like, okay, well, maybe I don't know. What are you going to do? It seems like it's kind of silly to invest so much in D-line if the other team's allowed to hold in the Super Bowl. It's happened like 4 or 5 years in a row.
Yeah, and Brock Purdy getting, all of the pressures. I think they had, I don't know, I could be wrong. Was it 11 or more pressures on Brock during the game? I don't know how many QB hits there were, but
and like the unblocked rushers, that was the issue. That was the theme of the game, and that's why it's like, yeah, they could improve their offensive line, but they'll still have that issue if they don't make a schematic change. And again, Alex Rollins kind of pointed it out. It did a really good film breakdown. But the Chiefs are doing a lot of cover zero, where blitzing people and just using the two safeties to cover man to man. And I mean, they just consistently had extra rushers, and the Niners had no answers for it. Like they got to go back to the lab on that one. That's on Kyle and Kubiak, who's gone.
And I was gonna say, and who does that fall on? Good old Kyle. But he gets to escape with getting rid of Wilks. Is your defense? I did not know that Steve Wilks had a better production with the defense than the 2 years that DeMeco Ryans was here. That's
true. Like DeMeco's first year probably wasn't as good as Wilks' first year, but it's like if you just look at what Wilks did last year, give up 16 something per game. The Niners under Wilks gave up 17 something per game. That's not enough of a drop off to justify a firing. They gave up 17.5 points per game. The number one defense in the league was Baltimore. They gave up 16.5 points per game. They were 1 point behind the number one defense in the league. And again, this defense had effort issues. And you can't put that on the defensive coordinator. You have to put that on the highly paid diva veterans. I'm sorry. I got to call them that. 100%. I got to call them that. Got to call it.
You have to. And I like the fact that you're holding Kyle accountable when you can. Keep applying pressure on him because we need somebody to kind of question him in a form where he can actually question himself at some point. Hopefully, we're hoping because he's so arrogant, he could just blow it off and never think about it again. But he needs to be accountable, dude. And you're one of the ones that hold him accountable. Larry asked some really great questions. Kyle, like, what the hell? And are you going to improve from Steve Wilks? Because if you don't, and the defense declines even more, then how do you explain that?
Here's my thing with Kyle, and then I got to let you go. And everyone listening, tell me if I'm wrong. We've known Kyle now 7 years, going into 8 years of this relationship with Kyle. We know him. At no point has he been able to take criticism, admit fault. He can't do it. Most people can do it. Most people can say, hey, man, I was wrong on this one thing. Put it on me. And it's a mark of character and strength for an adult to be able to do that sometimes. It doesn't mean that you're a loser. It's actually a mark of distinction to be able to do that. I've never seen him do it. Not once. And when he's put in that position, he has two modes. He'll be vicious. He will embarrass you in a press conference. If you question him, he will be vicious. Like he's going to bite your head off, or he'll kind of put himself in this victim stance. Like, hey man, be easy on me. I'm going through a tough time. And it's like, I'm sorry, dude. You need to be a leader now and take this on you. Like, stop trying to wiggle out of responsibility in different ways, being aggressive, being passive. Like, no, you got to take this. You're the head coach, but he's never changed. He's never taken criticism or responsibility. He doesn't grow. So fans are like, hey, I think eventually the Niners will do this. Man, this guy's going to keep making the same mistakes and they'll win in spite of him maybe sometime, but it's hard to win in spite of a head coach who doesn't know the rules. Hard to do.
No, it shouldn't be happening. And how does that affect your players when you can't take accountability? I'm sure there's a handful or more.
That's your culture.
Like, damn, coach, come on, man. Just tell him you fucked. I mean, excuse me. Tell him you effed up, you messed up.
But what I'm saying is, like, if the head coach can't take responsibility, then that's the culture of the team. Then Nick Bosa doesn't take responsibility. Fred Warner doesn't take responsibility. These guys have who had inconsistent effort, and all of a sudden you just find a scapegoat.
Yeah,
that's the culture of this team.
They're actually his players are taking more accountability than he is. So what does that say about him? You know. But anyway,
it says everything about him.
Just lastly, that play where Brock missed Juwan Jennings and Ayuk was wide open. Where was Kyle in the headset telling Brock, "Hey, look backside," because we're right in front of the end zone. Hey, look for Brandon Ayuk. Knowing his ability in the one-on-one matchups, he broke free so quickly. It was like, Brock could have just flicked it. You know what I mean? Even with Chris Jones coming,
you know what I would have called on 3rd and 4?
Lean back.
You know, I would have called on 3rd and 4. I would have called a run in the gun. McCaffrey to the left, get the ball, pitch it to him in the gun. Trent Williams leading, 3rd and 4. You probably get the first down. If you don't, it'll be 3rd and short. Do that. Where was that?
Trent on that side, exactly.
All day.
Yes,
anyway,
sir.
I got to take some more calls, man. Good stuff, dude. Later.
Thank you. Good.
We got a Rams fan coming in next. Just a second. I knew the rule. Explained it to my wife. Says Super Sim 4K Gaming. Tony Romo knew it. Could it be the Chiefs play best when it matters, says Gold Towel. Yeah, I think that's because they're champions. The whole Charger defense hates him, Joey especially, says Charlie Sinclair. I don't think he's coming here. Dave Barclay says Kyle is the issue, hands down. I tried to tell you. I told you years ago. We had the better team, says Dave Barclay. Correct. James R. Guy says, Grant, did you see in the 4th quarter of the Super Bowl when Mahomes on first down runs out of bounds? 1-3-2 left, zig down because first down. Yeah, I was there. I keep explaining to it. Go back to the previous play. It was a throw to Kelsey for gain of 9. In the stadium, they thought it was a gain of 10. They called it first down. It was not. It was 2nd and 1. So when he scrambled for 2 yards, then it was first down. That's what happened, James. Go back and watch. Team T. The Chiefs weren't holding. They were tackling. Fish and Chips, cry about it. If you can't beat them, join them. You do that. Fish and Chips says, if you're called Kid Kyle, you ain't taking responsibility. Supison 4K Gamer says, you called him smug. I say narcissist. You said it, not me. Steve Apollo. Kyle has been the worst scheme for the Niners, yet not his calls. Big game loser and always repeats the same mistakes. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing and expecting different results. Kyle is the antichrist for the 49ers. That was too much. All right. Payo time.
Hey, how's it going, Grant?
All right. Where are you calling from? I was curious to see where Rams fans live.
So I'm kind of a weird one. I'm actually a Rams YouTuber, and I live in Nova Scotia, Canada.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. They're spread out. Okay. I love it.
Yeah. Well, dude, thanks so much for having me on and getting blessings on you and your content creation. And
thank you.
I'm coming on to ask a question. Is this season, this Niners team had Super Bowl hype all year long. It seemed like whether they were at home or on the road, the faithful showed up a ton.
They do.
Looking at
large fan base as opposed to the Rams. Sorry.
Hey, we're growing.
You're growing. Not in LA, but other places they're growing.
Yeah. In Nova Scotia, where I live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Strong presence.
But what do you think next year looks like? Like, does this team next year have the same Super Bowl hype it will have this past season? When they go to those road games, do you still expect to see the sea of red out there?
Hell yeah, I do. I absolutely do. This fan base is growing every year. It's it might be the biggest. It feels like the biggest fan base in football right now. But maybe it's because I cover the team. But every time they're on the road, it's a home game. Almost every time. It's incredible.
But you don't think that like this loss like dampers that a little bit?
Look, I think you're asking the wrong question, Payo Time. I don't think it dampers it for the fans. The question is, how is this locker room going to respond to this loss?
Okay.
Because it's the most gut-wrenching loss in sports history, I think.
Yeah.
I think it is. And last year when they lost to the Eagles, they could say, man, our quarterback got hurt. That's not fair. We were going to win. And they did that. And they galvanized themselves behind this whole, like, we didn't get a fair chance. And it drove them all year. They were the number 1 seed. They were really the best team in the league all year. Now, after losing because their head coach botched the coin flip.
Yeah.
How do you, I mean, what do you say? Like, they had the best team. They had the spot. They had the shot. They had them.
Multiple opportunities, really.
It's depressing. This just seems depressing to know that you can do everything right, have the best team in the league, and your coach will find a new way to lose a game that you didn't even know existed. Tough.
That's some say tough, some say talented, and I'd be okay with if the Niners want to keep doing this year after year. I told someone I'd rather the Rams win the Super Bowl like they're going to next year, or I don't mind seeing the aftermath of the Niners like this. It's been really cool to see like your channel and all the other 49ers content creators just sort of milk this loss for tons of views.
You could argue that the Niners, if they had just taken the ball second in overtime, they would have won. I mean, they got it first. They drove the ball down to the 9-yard line and frankly punked out on 4th and 4. Yeah. But if they'd gotten the ball second, they actually couldn't have punked out. They would have had to go for the touchdown and trusted their players, who probably would have freaking come through because they're better than Kyle Shanahan gives them credit for, because he thinks he's the star of this team. I'm just saying, man, I don't see how they get over this one. I really wouldn't be surprised if they had a big-time Super Bowl hangover last year. You saw it with the Rams. Niners had it when they lost to the Chiefs the last time. It's a real thing. It's old team.
I'm still on the train. When the Rams had it, it was historic injury season.
Same with the Niners.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
But
so we'll see. You get less time for recovery, but I'll let other people come on here. But thanks for having me on, man. Blessings on your content, and hope you get over this loss all right.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Peace.
All right, we're going to take a little pause in the show to acknowledge our sponsor. Then I'm going to get to Bailey Lund and Ethan M and Ernesto. But my new sponsor is the Sleeper app, which is dope. It's a daily fantasy app, and I've had those before. But this one just gives more information. So yesterday, if you watched the show, I did it. Hold on. Let me get Bailey Lund to do it with me. I need your help, and then we can talk, okay? What's up, Bailey? How you doing? Can we do this? Good. I need your help with this one, and then you can do all your takes. So yesterday I did a show, and I'm doing picks on the Sleeper app, and I just did college basketball because it's the only thing playing right now. I almost got everyone right, and I want everyone to see how good. All I did was bet against every single player I saw because I have no. I just think college basketball is the worst. They're terrible at the game.
We're not allowed to bet on it in Indiana. It sucks.
Oh. So all of them I did under, and I almost hit, and I don't even know who they are. The one guy on Georgetown hit 3 threes, and I said he'd hit less than 1.5. So I just thought that was a win. Let's do it again. Shall we? Do you watch college basketball?
I go to Purdue, so I watch a little bit, but I'm not
a big
basketball guy.
So you can help me.
Maybe.
So you know what we're talking about now. Game today. Let's see. Today. Sweet. Duke's playing today. How about that? They're good. What's going on? How come we can't bet on Duke? I'm mad. Sorry, this is the most exciting part of the show where we look for things to bet on. North Carolina. Boom. Okay. Have you watched North Carolina play? Bailey?
I've not.
What am I paying you for, Bailey?
I don't know.
You go to Indiana? I went to UCLA.
Purdue, not Indiana.
Oh, you said Purdue? Where's Purdue? In
West
Indiana?
Lafayette, Indiana.
Oh, see, I was close.
But we're not Indiana University. We don't like that.
Okay, I take it back. All right, Davis. RJ Davis. That's it. Okay, 20.5 points. Scored 19 last game.
Under.
I agree, dude.
Under's always
RJ Davis. I don't think much of RJ Davis. Okay, less. This guy, Armando Backett. 10.5 rebounds. That's a lot. But this kind of guy's kind of a monster.
He's 6'11". I'll give
6'11". What do you think?
He can get that. I'll take
he can get that. All right, cool. How about Cormac Ryan? What a name. 3-pointers made, 1.5. Guy seems like he shoots a lot of threes for him.
He'll get it.
Cormac. With a name like Cormac, he's going to get him. How about this dude? Harrison Ingram. Points, 12.5. That's low. That's scary. What do you think?
I'm thinking under.
Yeah, Harrison Ingram. He's going to have a poor shooting night. I agree. I like you go on the Sleeper app and you feel like you really know, but you don't. We're going to get this. Elliot Cadeau, 6'1", 180. assists, 3.5. It's 7 last game.
He's been hot his last 2 games.
Been hot. Got to go for him more.
Yeah,
And then one from Virginia Tech just for fun. How about this dude? Hunter Couture. What a name. 13.5 points. He's beaten it 4 games in a row.
Yeah, you got to give it to him. He's hot.
You got to give it to Hunter. He's their guy. All right, let's lock it in. $10. Submit the entry. College basketball. It's that easy. And just like that, I'm going to win because I get them all right. If you want to play, use the little QR code. Use code COHN. Get up to a $50 deposit, $500 deposit match. I can't even read. That's a lot of money on the Sleeper app. Download it today on your phone. It's promo code Cohn. All right, Bailey, thank you for doing that with me. I appreciate you.
That's fine.
Now tell me what's on your mind about the 49ers.
You know, I don't mind the Niners just appearing in Super Bowls because once they did Alex Smith dirty when I was back in elementary school, just becoming a football fan, I became a Chiefs fan.
Oh!
So we ride with Alex Smith. They did him dirty, and
They did.
will forever be cursed against
They did.
against the
That's
Chiefs.
true, man.
So,
Alex Smith could have led them to the Super Bowl victory that year. He was having the
he
best
would've
year of
won.
his career.
That was the last game I was ever a Niners fan, and I haven't looked back since.
Why did that bother you so much?
Just because he was finally doing so well.
He's been
You
through
know,
so much.
Like they were giving him so much shit, and he finally gets it together with a consistent coach.
Mhm.
Maybe not the best coach, but he finally has one coach for several years, and then he gets a concussion, and then they're like, "Nah, we don't want to play with you anymore." And I just thought that they did him dirty. And then Colin
Hey,
Kaepernick
sorry you're having the
sucks.
best
Like,
season
he
of
made
your
the-
career, but we're going to a complete novice. Hey, look,
And
Kaepernick
to
was
be
really
fair,
good
we
too,
did the
but
same thing to him. He had his best
That's
career
true.
year, and then we traded him to Washington. But that's because we have Patrick Mahomes, and I feel like it's less disrespectful to be like we just happened to draft the best quarterback of all time, rather than
Yeah.
we have this random dude and he sucks now. Sorry.
But yeah, I
So,
mean, Alex Smith went on to continue to get better and better, and Kaepernick didn't. So interesting. The curse of Alex Smith. Hadn't thought of it, but there might be something to it. How do you feel that the Niners did what they did in overtime? Did you feel like they gave the game away, like the Chiefs inevitably took it? What do you think?
anyone who says that Kyle was right is an idiot. There's zero reason to ever receive the ball first.
Zero.
No reason. Because
None.
like you gave your defense a break. Okay, they gave up a touchdown anyways. Who cares?
That's what I'm
Like-
saying. Okay.
And the whole
It's
point is
telling
like
me that it's good to hit first in baseball. Like, no, you want to hit second.
there's a reason the home team gets to hit second so they can walk it off.
Yeah,
Like,
you
that's
want to hit. Yeah,
kinda
what are you
how it
talking about?
I think I and this has been there for 2 years.
Yep.
How do you
Not
not
just
know
one.
that?
I know.
Like how do you not even understand the rule?
To me,
that
that's
you're
the most
playing game?
unprofessional thing I've ever heard, and it's a fireable offense. And the Niners won't fire Kyle, but like, how do you look at him the same after that? Anyone?
He gives too much control to his players. I mean,
What do you mean? I love this outsider perspective. We need a Chiefs fans perspective of the Niners. What is their problem? Because they can't figure it out. They're just going to
Well-
run it. They fired Steve Wilkes, and they're going to run it back.
I actually found your channel when you did a film breakdown of the first Super Bowl we played. I've been watching since, so
Okay.
I enjoy it. But
All right, it's time for me to do more of those.
yeah, that was fun.
Thanks.
I mean, Andy Reid empowers his players to do what they want to do, and he lets them have fun within a structure where
Mhm.
it's like, Kelsey can go do whatever he wants to run a route,
Mhm.
but he still is like a player. He's not George Kittle or Nick Bosa who's like firing coaches. Like I know he gets upset and like bumps into him and like whatever, but that's him saying I want to be more involved, not saying I hate.
I
Matt
run the
Nagy.
team.
Get Matt
Like,
Nagy
that's his
fired.
frustration that he doesn't. Yeah.
And like I sent in a question to you and your dad yesterday about the Bay Area arrogance, and that wasn't quite the word. You said smug, and I thought that was a better word.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny because you were talking about how everyone else in America thinks that the Bay Area is smug and they drive their Priuses, and I also drive a Prius, so I thought that was pretty funny.
Where do you live?
My home is Mountain View.
Oh, okay. All right. Damn. So you really switched up on this team. You're like, screw 'em.
Yeah. Mhm.
Wow. I
I
respect
was
it.
still in high school when we had our first Super Bowl victory against them. That felt real good going to school the next day. But like, I
Where'd you
would
go to high
much
school?
rather have George, huh?
Where'd you go to high school?
At Mountain View High School.
Wow, that's cool. All right, man. I went to college with kids who went to Mountain View High School. It's a good school.
Yeah, it was fun. But
Yeah.
I'd much rather have George Karlaftis than Nick Bosa. Hot take. I don't care.
Why?
One, he's getting paid a rookie deal
Bupkis.
versus $30
They
million.
both have 10.5 sacks this year too.
Both have 10.5 sacks. George has one more sack in the playoff.
Hmm?
I don't know about the forced fumbles, but George had quite a few and recovers fumbles because he actually pays attention to the play, unlike another certain George, who a lot of people are saying there's no way he should recover that. And I don't think George Kittle should have recovered the ball, but you can at least keep blocking until the whistle goes.
You can make sure that George Karlaftis didn't.
Yeah, because Karlaftis was paying attention.
Yeah.
And I mean, Jawan Jennings a few weeks ago blocked a Packers player, I think, like into the Gatorade bench. Like, Jawan Jennings has some heart. He plays to the whistle. What's Kittle doing?
That's true.
Kittle's,
When you saw that the
Kittle's
Niners were going to
brain.
be playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, what was your first reaction?
I wanted the Lions to win because I would feel much better losing to the Lions than having to play the Niners because, you know, it's one game. It's not a series. So even if you think you're the better team, anything can go wrong. And losing to the Niners would devastate me as a Bay Area native. So
How confident were you when the Niners came in? Knowing the
So,
Niners for who they are, how confident were you before that game started?
Yeah, I was telling my girlfriend that as long as they have Kyle Banana Hands, I'm okay playing them the game because, you know, Detroit, they're inexperienced, but they also have a lot of talent. And the Niners have more talent than Detroit.
I'm hoping that goes mainstream, Banana Hands, like someone says it on a national show one day. It needs to happen. That needs to be how he's known. You don't get to have the Shanahan name until you win a freaking Super Bowl. You don't get to have that name. No, absolutely not. We're changing it.
Shana Kant the other day.
Shana Kant. I like that.
I like that.
All right, Bailey. Good call, man. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
2 in a row. Dreams. Kyle is the Dave Barclay. Grant, have you ever seen me love Kyle? No. Zara, $2. Thank you. Dave Barclay, I don't like him. Abandoned run in big games. Always. Thomas Delacruz. Smith equals trash. Win a season without a touchdown to a wide receiver in Kansas City. We're not doing that. We're not gonna re-argue the Alex Smith career. Not doing it. Not today. Ethan M. It's been a while.
Yo,
how you doing,
up, man? Yeah, it's been a minute, dude. I had to come on after all this, dude. I took a break from YouTube. Like after that loss, I saw all your videos pumping out. I was like, I can't even deal with it right now. But I've been catching up. But I got 2 things to say on about Kyle specifically, dude. Like, you know, I feel like in the past I've kind of given him crap too, and it's coming back again. It's all the same stuff, dude. Like, I think people are kind of keep talking about that overtime decision and the coin flip and how he lost it there. But in all honesty, I think he did the exact same thing he did in the last Super Bowl. He lost it in the 3rd quarter when he didn't run the ball.
That's true. That's true.
It doesn't matter.
You had the lead.
You went into overtime with Patrick Mahomes. You're not going to win. Like,
True.
You needed to finish that game in regulation, the 4 quarters of football that actually matter, like real football. Once you got to overtime, it was over. Like, and so I feel like when in that 3rd quarter, he did the same mistake he did in the Super Bowl when he didn't run it with Mostert. Mostert was running well. He stopped running it, gave it to Jimmy, and then everyone wants to blame Jimmy for missing these passes and all that. But it's like, do you not, like, I don't know. I think it was all on Kyle, and he did the exact same thing he did in 2019, and it's just like, man, like, he's never gonna learn. And it made me so mad to see that. I was yelling at my TV telling him to run the ball.
I just think about this. When Andy Reid needed a kind of a gimmick play or something to pull like a rabbit out of his hat, he called like a run for his quarterback. He had Patrick Mahomes on like a zone read. When Kyle Shanahan needed like a gimmick play, he called a pass for his wide receiver because he's a wide receiver. And it worked out, man. But it's like, yo, maybe at the end, you could have used Brock Purdy's legs a little bit. He's shown that he can be that guy. He's at least as fast as Patrick Mahomes. But you had him dropping back in one spot like he's freaking Matt Ryan. You never really used that part of his game in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I just think Kyle was really at his worst in this game. He was terrible.
I've been noticing this too in the biggest games, like these last 2 playoff games before the Super Bowl. Like, I feel like it was the players kind of bailing Kyle out. Like, it was all that talent coming out.
You couldn't unlock McCaffrey. How? You went to Debo instead of Ayuk against man-to-man coverage. Why? What are you talking about?
this is like I left that super chat saying like his fragile, like his ego is like killing this team because like in the biggest moments he's not empowering his play. He's not letting the best abilities of his players show. Like he's taking over and he's trying to force the game into the way that he thinks he can make it win. But in all retrospect, like he needs to just kind of let his players and their abilities take over. Like you're not using McCaffrey in the way that he's best. You're not using Ayuk in the way he's best. You're not using Kittle in the way he's best. Like you're not using, and even Deebo, he had 11 targets, but like none of those targets were like real like plays that Deebo ever really is successful.
That's a great point. I mean? Like, where were the screens for Deebo? Why were you keep trying to? Why did you keep trying to get him to run routes and beat DBs? Man, it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah,
it wasn't going to happen.
Then the other thing I wanted to say about Kyle is like I kind of wanted to see how you thought about this, but the idea of Purdy kind of stripping away the power and like respect for leadership in like on this team, because I feel like after this loss, like this team, like they can't look at anybody else but Kyle. And then you have Brock coming out and he's this leader, he's taking all his responsibility, and that's how he's been this entire year. And I feel like going forward, the players are probably going to feed more off Brock than they are Kyle. Like Kyle's going to lose that side of the locker room that way.
I agree. That's a good point, because Jimmy and Kyle used to play this passive aggressive, I'm not taking responsibility, I'm not taking responsibility game. But now Brock's like, I'm the leader, I'm taking it. And I think people are going to respond to it, and Kyle's going to look weird in comparison and contrast.
And Brock is actually good. Like, and the craziest thing is like he saved Kyle's job this entire season. Like Kyle's the one that botched Trey Lance. Kyle's the one that botched the quarterback situation. Kyle went into this season with the Mr. Irrelevant starting as his quarterback off a torn UCL. Like that is not the most ideal situation you want to be doing, but it works because Brock is good. Brock didn't need to get trained by Kyle in any way. Like he was ready to go. So like Brock has been the savior of this entire team this entire time, and I feel like the team is now finally starting to see that, and it's gonna start to flip on Kyle.
Agree, man. I got to take more calls. Good stuff, Ethan.
Yeah, I'll see you around.
All right, see you, man. Dave Barclay, keep 1 Ayuk, 2 CMC, 3 Jennings on offense. I would keep them too. Mr. Amazing says Warner said he wanted the ball first before the coin flip. Check out the mic up footage of shake my damn head. Bad coaching. Yep. D Flow. Every time I saw an empty backfield, I cried inside, especially when we would motion McCaffrey to the slot or something. Yeah. What was the advantage there? Don't get that. Let's have less blockers. Let's give less deception. Fish and chips. Next time you see Kittle and Santa, say hi, George. Oh. Marco 23 says, I don't remember ever saying we ran too much after a loss. Third quarter was forfeited to the Chiefs. 39 pass attempts in the rain versus the Packers. Negligence. True. Mike Nolan, is there any beef between you and Lombardi? Nah, no beef. Not at all. Ernesto.
Hi, Grant. How are you?
Hey, Ernesto. I'm okay. How are you?
I am calling from Argentina. I apologize for my English.
You're fine.
I born in Venezuela, and I am a 49ers fan 20 years ago.
Okay.
I have 42 years old, and I look 49ers for a while. I want to say two things. The first is in the third quarter, when Mahomes threw the interception. I don't know why Kyle don't run the ball. I don't understand that, because I watch many years football, and I know how to interpret the momentum of the game, and that was a momentum the 49er have.
Yeah.
And when you have the ball in the, I think was the 45 yard of Kansas City, you are winning the game. You have the ball. You have CMC. You have to run the ball. You have to take a field goal or something. You in that 4 sequence play. The
Let's go
Niners
through it real quick. I got it right in front of me. I got it right in front of me. So the Niners, so like that's the first possession of the third quarter. The Chiefs get the ball. Mahomes fumbles on the first play, and then on 3rd and 12 throws a pick. You're right. The Niners have the ball, and they're up 7 at this point. They're up, 10-3. They get the ball at the Chiefs 44. Okay?
44.
To your point. In Chiefs territory, first play, pass incomplete. Second play, ball start. Second play again, incomplete. Third play, scramble for 4-yard punt. Like right there.
You have to run the first and the second play, man. It's impossible. O sea, you don't have to throw in the freaking 44, 45 yard of the Kansas City. If Mahomes is Kansas City, you have to run. Period.
You do.
You have many plays, many momentum of the game. You have to I don't know how to say. You can analyze, but that moment, I think that was a big problem for the Niners to put more points on the board.
Yep.
And the final moment that I think the Niners are going to lose the game was in overtime when in the last drive the Niners, the first play in the last drive, they run with CMC behind the right guard and gain 6 yards, right? Well, what is the second play of the drive? The same. No. The second play was a
run for no gain.
A run
from
no gain.
Yep. And then
in the same spot, in the right side of the offensive line that was the wicked link of the offensive line. You have to run to the left. You have Trent Williams, you have George Kittle, you have Aaron Banks. Why the hell he run to the right again? I don't understand.
Right. We talked about it all year. We talked about it all year. And then on 3rd down, you could have ran to the left. You just ran to the right, pitched to the left, but he didn't.
We are talking about a genius.
Yeah.
Supposed genius. And he, in the overtime of the Super Bowl, run the same play with CMC. Yep. I don't understand that guy. And
Ernesto, great call. I got to take more. You did great. You did great, man. I'm with you. Good stuff.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Sorry if I cut people off. I just got to keep it moving, man. Ramilia Sports Report, are you there? Are you there? Hold on. I'll get you next, Mugs and Roses.
What is up, Grant? Here we are again. This is going to be fun.
Okay, have a good time.
Listen, this is the next best thing. And props to my Canadian Rams brother, Payo Time, showing up on your show. Now, I used to coin a few terms and ask and tell me if I'm correct going into the 8th year in Kyle Shanahan's ringless tenure. I used to call him incompetent. Check. Right? I called Kyle's team the regular season empire. Check. Right? Now, Brock Purdy was supposed to be an upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, let me tell you this here. It's not his fault that he plays on a great team that's loaded. It's not his fault that the NFC is weak this year. It's not his fault that the teams on the schedule are usually way less. They're not as good as the Niners. So he's building those stats. You know, they would call Stafford Stat Padford, right? Well, that's Brock Padford. Because let me tell you this. No one, and I'm not seeing anyone else saying this. So it's not his fault. He's a young player. He can get better, or he could be Jared Goff and 2 years later be on another team. It depends. We'll see, because as the talent go, you got to pay him in a year or two, and then Trent Williams will be out. Is he regressing? Trent Williams? He had 2 big penalties. Didn't play a good Super Bowl. When he's out, then there's all hell's going to break loose. But you don't know him off the top of your head, but look at the stats of Brock Purdy when they play good defenses. The Browns, the Ravens, The Bengals, where they went into Levi, blew them out. The two playoff games against the Packers and Lions, he did those comebacks, but he played horrible in most of those games, or half of the Lions game. In the Super Bowl, he had an okay game, but guess what? Ayuk has as many touchdowns as Brock Purdy did. So that's why I called Brock Purdy Jimmy Garoppolo 2.0, the mobile edition, because it's the same guy. And answer me this: did Brock Purdy miss a long deep ball like Jimmy Garoppolo did in the Super Bowl? So Jimmy 2.0. That's fool's gold. I called him fool's gold too, and check that too, because it's the same result, Grant. And yeah, props to you, Grant. You call it like it is, you and Lowell. And I'm looking forward to next season. Will they implode? Because it's hard, going up there and getting there and then losing in the big game, the hangover. We remember what happened after they lost the 2019 season. And it's funny that you had Niners content creators, not you, but other ones, media members, always trying to compare this team to the 2019 Niners. Is this team like the 2019? Who's better? Well, now they are like the 2019 Niners because they both lost.
That's true. No, they were getting a lot of, is this team better than the 94 Niners? Like, no. But no.
This is what I'm looking forward to, Grant. We'll see what the Niners are still going to be the class of the NFC because they're still loaded, right? We'll see if they pay Ayuk. Maybe we'll grab, is Juwan Jennings' contract up?
Restricted free agent. So
I can see adding him with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, and then we go and grab Chris Jones from the KC, put him next to Donald. We have a nice draft, and then we're holding the Lombardi versus KC in the Super Bowl. I would love that. We'll see what happens because we got money, we got cap. The NFC West is going to be really neat next year because all the teams are going to be better. Except for the Niners. They might not be as good as they were this year. So I'm looking forward to, Grant. Props to you, my brother. Appreciate you. And props to Lowell. And I can't wait, man. But I just wanted to tell you that I haven't come on in a while, but 30 years and counting, Grant. 30 years and counting since they held the Lombardi. There and that comment you got us with the fans. The Rams have any fans? They got fans, Grant. We were out of this market for 20 years. But at least we have that Lombardi, the last NFC team to win the Super Bowl. And we're not like these poor souls back here, the escalator, bang, bang, escalator gang. Again, they lost, so, but props to you, Grant. Appreciate you, my brother. Take care. And as we always say, may the Ramelia be with you, Grant. Ramulators, mount up for next year, baby.
He said Ramulators mount up. That was too good. Okay. Mike Nolan, Charlie Sinclair. I mean, Kyle wanted Mac Jones and he's a genius. Yeah. Rod Simmons, QC has been pretty accurate on all accounts this season. Your flowers, Grant. Give me a bold offseason prediction. They trade Ayuk. I don't want to be right about that, though. I think they're going to trade him. Ethan M. Name a well-coached team that Purdy played bad. At Ramelia. I don't know. Mr. Amazing. And Kyle has the nerve to say he played Madden before. Okay, his record was probably crappy in Madden too. Oh, well, for real, run the ball rookie mode. Niners fan, Josh Smith, Chris Tallarico, Chris, Lathan, Tua Lore, Anthony. I'm going to get to you all right? So let's be efficient and quick with our answers. I mean, what we're saying. Mugs and Roses.
Bro, how do I follow up with that? Like, really?
I don't know. That was really funny.
I mean, cocaine's a hell of a drug. No, honestly, I mean, I don't want to be right. And just like you, I think the best option is to trade Ayuk, re-sign Jennings to an extension. I would even say keep Gregory and Chase, just because, I mean, they have their flashes. I mean, most of our defensive ends on the outsides always get injured. Look at Drake Jackson. He had an explosive, first 3 games, and then we never heard from him again. That's devastating because he's not only is he fast, he's strong, and he's extremely agile. So that extra layer, and it sounds stupid saying that because we always get defensive linemen when we need offensive linemen. But in reality, the defense always saves us. It's been that way since the Jim Harbaugh era. I mean, if you really look at it, our defense has always saved us.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
We've
been that way throughout the York tenure. Like ever since the Yorks have been here, it's been more of a defensive team, defensive franchise.
Which is cool, but it's like, it'd be nice to, watch the offense light it up, That'd be dope. Granted, this Super Bowl loss definitely is on Kyle. And him firing Steve Wilks did not make him look good in any way, shape, or form. It didn't make Jed York look good. It didn't make John Lynch look good. It didn't make the franchise as a whole look good. You hired you're in, and you basically remove his identity to form it around yours. And you basically just wasted a year of his life and a year of his talent for what? He arguably had, if I'm not mistaken, I think he had a better year than D'Amico. He had a better year than Saleh. And this is coming in as an outsider, as what Kyle said, an outsider looking in, which is crazy to hear him open up with that as to why they let him go. But yeah, no, I definitely think trading Ayuk would be the better option because he's going to want a lot of money. And unfortunately, unless Debo decides to restructure and CMC decides to restructure, which I don't see happening, there's no feasible way we can keep Juwan and Brandon Ayuk and a lot of the defensive players that we're going to lose this year. So, and defensive coordinator, I swear to God, Grant, if we get Brandon Staley, I probably might not even watch a game. I'm not going to watch a game at that point. There's no point. But, yeah, it's just it wouldn't be a smart move on the defensive side for the Niners. Outside of that, I am hopeful. I don't think anything Ramelia said is going to come true because that's just a crack dream.
Hey man, you got to let the rival get his moment. He was enjoying it. That was his victory lap.
Yeah, that's the only victory lap he's going to get. He forgets the reason why they got the Super Bowl was because of Von Miller. Von Miller leaves, they become dog shit.
All right, Mugs and Roses. Good to see you, man.
Good seeing you too, man.
Peace.
Oh yeah, for Tommy Huxley. Yeah, I got the amp right here.
Okay. Niners fan.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
So I want to let everybody know that I probably jinxed us. Before the game, I said Dre Greenlaw was going to be the Super Bowl MVP, and that obviously didn't turn out. I know you don't play fantasy football, but everybody I draft first round always gets injured with the ACL injury.
Ooh.
Adrian Peterson, Jamal Charles. I think I drafted Ray Rice the year the elevator incident happened. So I'm bad luck. So I don't know why I said that. I'm sorry, everybody, for the bad luck. But what I wanted to say today is that I think I need to see one thing. I need to see one thing from the team, or especially Brock. Or it doesn't have to come from Brock, but it's probably gonna come from Brock. I need to see what are you gonna do about it kind of moment. Like, could you imagine how Kyle would have reacted if he would have audible to a run play, that third down, instead of doing pass play, and then they kicked the field goal eventually. I always imagine like Steve Kerr, like Steph Curry, and that one time Steph Curry would do some BS, and then Steve Kerr would just put his hands up, and then he would make the shot. He'd be like, all right, well, I can't I can't be mad at you. And I can only imagine if Steve Kerr would do something like Kyle Shanahan and be like, run the play like I said to run the play. I know you made the shot, but you need to run the play like I run the play. And then Steph Curry would be like, or you'll do what? I need to see that from Brock Purdy. Be like, do some stuff that off script or whatever. And Kyle does his normal banana handshake, whatever it's called thing. And then it's like, what are you gonna do about it? You're gonna start Sam. you're gonna bench me? No, you're not gonna do that. So I need somebody to do something like that to Kyle to be like, we're taking this over. We don't need to have a council. We don't need to tell you to run the ball versus the Cowboys secretly to the side. Run the damn ball. This is what we're doing right now. I'd be so happy if I see that at least once next season.
Yeah. All right, Niners fan. Good call.
Good call.
Josh Smith, you're up.
Hey, what's up, Grant? Good to see you.
How you doing, man? They turned you into an old man in a rocking chair with this loss.
I know. It's because I'm on my deck. I got my two girls inside and they're screaming inside on the deck while it's raining. But I wanted to say three really, really quick things. So the first thing is the loss really hurt, but I think the future's bright because Brock's on the team. The second thing is, I know a lot of people want to pin the loss on Kyle, but honestly, did he do everything perfect? No, but I actually think it was an improvement from the last Super Bowl, and I honestly blame it more on the players than I do on him. I mean, the 3rd and 4 call in overtime, do I wish we did a run there? Yes, I think that would have been a better call, but at the same time, Juwan Jennings was open, Ayuk was open, and it was McKivitz or Burford or whoever you want. That was their fault. That was actually a good play call, I think. Good pass. The receivers were open. The O-line screwed it up. McCaffrey fumbled. We had the muffed punt. The O-line was undisciplined, jumped off sides, holding, different things like that. So at the end of the day, like if a coach does something really stupid, like calling a cover 0 blitz on a 3rd and 6 and having the DB 7 yards off, then like a coach can blow it. But I didn't see anything so bad to where it was like, oh, Kyle really screwed the game up. I honestly bring it down to the player's execution. And then for the offseason, my third thing I wanted to talk about was I personally think the biggest thing is we need to address the right side of our O-line, which you've been talking about, and I think you were spot on that all season. So I was thinking of you on that last play. I was like, gosh, dang it, Grant was right. And then, honestly, I think we need to trade Debo instead of Ayuk. Ayuk can beat man coverage. Debo can't. We already have our Swiss Army knife in McCaffrey. I say we get another real receiver, not a wide back like Debo. And, yeah, those are my 3 things. So, thoughts?
I think you're being a little easy on Kyle. You didn't even address the coin toss. Yeah. That was the moment. I mean, like whatever you want to say about the first 4 quarters,
yeah,
essentially they didn't count. There was a new game. The Super Bowl was 2 possessions, essentially. Both teams got a reprieve. There's this new game. Niners won a coin toss, and I think they messed up. I think Kyle messed up, and not getting the last possession was rough. So, also, other people talked about it schematically. Like, once you see that the Chiefs are committing to man-to-man coverage, you go to Ayuk.
Yep.
Ayuk, not Debo. You went to Debo over and over and over and over again. Like, that was inexplicable to me. Those are 2 things. Yeah.
That was hard to watch. The reason why I say I think he did better than the previous ones, I mean, like, for example, even like the trick play, he wouldn't have done that, I feel like, in the past in the Super Bowl. And I felt like that was a step up for him of like, oh, he's willing to maybe do some things he normally wouldn't do, because normally he's very conservative, and that's, I think, a part of the reason he's either it's weird, he's either too conservative or he tries to pass too much when he should be running.
Funny, yeah. It's like his play calling is aggressive, but his game management is conservative.
Yeah, no, exactly. So again, I don't think
I wasn't trying to put you on the defensive. You just asked me how I felt, and I felt like I disagree with you slightly on that, but I respect you.
Yeah, no. I think there were some things he did that he could have been better, but my main point is just I don't think he's solely at fault or even the biggest reason for why we lost. I think that there are things that he did that contributed to the loss, like what you mentioned with the overtime thing. I'm not a fan of how he managed the overtime, but everything prior to that, I felt like he had improved upon the last Super Bowl. And honestly, I think at the end of the day, the players are the ones that play, and they're the ones that can win or lose. And I think he had a good enough game plan for them to win, and they just didn't execute it.
All right, Josh. You call? I appreciate you having that perspective, man, because a lot of people are really upset today. So have a good one.
Hey, who else are we going to hire that's going to bring us to where he does? I don't know. Maybe Bill Belichick, but he's 70.
Maybe that. Maybe not. All right, man. Have a good one. Yeah, there's no guarantee with Bill Belichick either. It's not like he's been tearing it up the last few years. Chris Tallarico.
Yes,
not amused.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up?
Okay, good. So, one, I feel kind of vindicated. You should too, because national folks, even local folk, well, not as many local folks as should be, are calling Kyle out. And you've been doing it for a couple of years. I've been doing it since I've been watching you. And it's like, finally, somebody. A second thing, I wouldn't worry about Greenlaw. I tore my Achilles in like 4th of July weekend, and about 6 months later, I was up and walking around.
How'd you tear it?
I was playing basketball with my. I was at my brother's house playing basketball with his kids and neighbor kids, And it was exactly like Greenlaw. I knew as soon as he went down, I was like, oh shit, he tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
And I was running after the ball and just pop. And then,
Oop.
yeah. But I'm older. I'm nowhere near the shape he's in. It's a 6-month injury, and he went straight to surgery. So, he didn't have to wait. So I think he'll be back around the time that they'll need him, November-ish. But I think you're right. They are going to change. They're going to trade Brandon. I think that he's gone. He's as good as gone. In and out of the doghouse. Kyle never bought into him. Never bought into his skill set. He's just the only one who ever
never
did.
really featured him.
No, Brock was the reason why he was featured this season, because play would break down. Brock would see him open, and boom, done.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think he's gone, and I think if I were D'Amico, if I were Adam Peters, if I were whoever, if I were Saleh, those 3 people right now have to be on the phone with John and going, hey, come on, hook us up. We'll give you this and this and this for Brandon. But Washington's always a trade partner for the Niners, and now that Adam Peters is there, he's absolutely going to be a trade partner for the Niners. But yeah, it's just, and for the defensive coordinator, I don't think it matters who they hire as defensive coordinator. They're going to run the same goddamn defense. They do it every year. Every year, wide 9, no, 4-man pressure, man or soft zone, doesn't matter. They're going to run the same defense. And I don't know. I think they're going to try to run it back, and it might make sense to run it back just because they got Brock on his rookie deal still. But this has that last season for John Harbaugh kind of written all over it, a down year, players not bought in anymore because they looked broken. Like, I don't even think he's got Kittle anymore. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think the offseason is going to look like? Because I think they're just going to try to run it back, add a piece, run it back, and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to probably trade. I mean, they could trade Ayuk. They get a second first-round pick, draft, a D-end, an offensive tackle.
Not going to draft. Yeah, it's going to be a D-end. And
then they're going to replace Chase Young. They're going to stick with Colton McKivitz.
Yep.
They're going to bring in another guard to compete with Spencer Burford. But essentially, they'll just bring in another guard. They're not going to touch the offensive line. They never do. They'll bring another D end, maybe a D tackle, or if they don't replace Javon Kinlaw. If they don't re-sign Javon Kinlaw. And they need a corner. I think they're done with Ambry. They're just going to fill in little holes. Not change anything.
No, and it'll be next offseason after they have to make a decision on Brock on when they make some major changes. Because then you'll get, if Trent doesn't retire this year, he'll retire next offseason. Then you got Kittle, who probably retire. You got these guys that are aging out. And then it's probably, I would assume next year is going to be the Brock and CMC show. And it's going to be like Alex Smith and Gore, where Alex Smith is going to pass these shorter passes and hand off to Gore. And hey, maybe they can ride that to a playoff spot, but they're definitely not winning the Super Bowl next year.
Chris, good call.
Thank you.
All right. From one Chris to the next, Chris Lathan.
Hey, what's going on, Grant?
How you doing, Chris?
I'm all right, man. I didn't think we would win, so I'm not really too disappointed. But I mean, when I watched the game, one of the things that came out to me was Brock Purdy. He played exactly like he did in Dallas last year when we played Dallas. He didn't win the game, but he didn't lose it. He looked pretty much the same. And watching him, you can kind of see why they took Trey Lance, because when he needs to drive the ball, he just doesn't have that arm strength. I'm not saying that you can't win with him, but that's what I saw. And nobody's given to the fact that he is young. And he came off of UCL. He's in the biggest game of his life, where he's technically not supposed to be, just because he is who he is. And he did all right. I don't think he did. I think he'll be better next year. I think he'll be better next year. But one of the things that I wanted to address was that with the offensive line, I remember we had Trent go in motion a couple of times. What was it, last year or this year with Trent? Why didn't we try that? Just get in the group huddle, run the ball, and Trent, you line up, and wherever Chris Jones is, you go in motion to that side, and then that's where we run the ball. How about that? How about that? Yeah, how about that? I mean, we lost the game. I thought we were going to win the game when I was watching it, when we got that interception coming into the second half. That's when you have to capitalize. And he just didn't do that. Mm-hmm. That's when you got to capitalize. But my thing is for the offseason, this is the one thing that I noticed about the team. When they lost the Super Bowl the first time, they celebrated. They still went out with Lil Wayne. They didn't do that this year.
No.
They didn't do that this year. And I'm wondering, is the team starting to separate from the head coach, meaning that most teams go as their head coaches, their mentality, because we all know Kyle is. Kyle is very arrogant. And even so, when he threw away his defensive coordinator, but now is the team finally beginning to realize that we can't be as arrogant as we were in the past? Is it finally setting in that you have to play every down and all of it matters because you never know what will happen? Is the team maturing ahead of its head coach? What do you think?
Yeah, and it may be too little too late because a lot of these players are maturing their way out of the league.
I think the one thing about firing Wilkes, everybody gets better at their job. So you don't think that he could have improved? Do you think he could have improved?
I didn't fire him. I think he could have. I think he could have. I thought he did a good job. I think it's kind of scandalous to fire someone who gave up 17 points per game. It's pretty rough. Because the next guy's probably going to do worse
next year.
I don't know, Chris.
Yeah, I just think, because he did that, Kyle is finally getting heat for the first time, because that looks like a bad punk move. You have all of these weapons, and you are the coordinator who can scheme up anything. And in the Super Bowl, where it was clear that things weren't working, but the one guy that kept getting open and kept, making the plays when you need it was Juwan.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never forget. And this was coming from John Madden. I know you got calls, and I know you're going to talk about the Super Bowl and all that, later on other Cohn zones. But this is the last thing I'll say. I remember when the 49ers had Mike Rump. I don't know if you remember him. It was Mike Rump and Jason Webster and John Madden. And Rump was just getting torched. And Madden was like, you know what? I would just line up 3 wide receivers. And wherever Rump was covering, that's where I would throw it. It was clear that our third receiver was better than their third corner. And we never took advantage.
I know. They didn't take advantage. Chris, good call. Got to take more callers, man. Right. Good to see you always. Fish and chips, the next DC has to win the Super Bowl, right? Or pink slip. That's pretty much what they said. Dave Barkley, if we lose Ayuk, I literally out till new head coach. All day, every day, Kim. Don't understand why people think Brock is enough to win the chip. If he was, Niners would have won. 10-point lead. Alex says, why do players always say they haven't watched the film yet for questions that deserve negative remarks on what went wrong during the game? They don't want to be honest. Run the damn ball. Coach blew it. They don't want to answer the question. It's a way to avoid the question. Tua.
Hey,
how do you pronounce your name?
Tua, you pronounce right.
Tua, great. Nice to meet you. How are you?
Not too good. I'm coming from Sacramento. Okay. I'm a huge Niner fan since '94.
Nice. Me too. I mean, I was at one point since '94.
Yeah. But anyway, I want to compare Kyle to his dad.
Okay.
His dad won 3 Super Bowl and 2 with the Denver and 1 with the Niners. And Kyle blew 2 with the Niners and 1 with the Atlanta. So Kyle dad is the winner and Kyle is the loser. Compare Kyle dad won 3 and Kyle lost 3. So that say that Kyle is a bad coach and he's not smart as his dad.
Yeah, I agree. I think his dad may have lost a few Super Bowls when he was a coordinator in the 80s when he was real young in his 30s. But yeah, at this point, I think his dad was a champion at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, So anyway, I'm just want to say that I can't sing with Kyle. He arrogant and he have a lot of ego. And I would say that there's no way Kyle gonna win the Super Bowl with this team unless he's no think he arrogant, you know. So
I agree. I don't think it's gonna happen.
yeah.
I'm with you, Tua. I
Yeah.
don't think it's gonna happen.
So anyway, watching you and your dad and Jesse, you guys do a fantastic job, and I'm continuing to support you and your dad, and looking forward to see you more.
Appreciate you, man. That was a great call. Thank you so much, Tua. Hang
Thanks.
in there. All right, Anthony.
Hey, Grant, first time caller, man. How's it going?
I'm all right, dude. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Real quick, I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know you got a lot of people. But my first question I wanted to ask you is the vibe you get in the locker after that Super Bowl and the day after. Does it feel like some of these players have lost a little confidence in Kyle, just from what you've maybe interpreted from being in there?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's kind of what I'm getting at too with how
I
these
feel like he's
guys.
scrambling on his heels. What do I got to do? What do I got to do? Okay, you want to? How about a new coordinator? How about a new defensive? You can pick him.
Yeah.
Like, nah, you still blew the overtime, dude. I don't know.
And so real quick, my last point. A lot of Niner fans have been going back and forth on why we lost to the Chiefs and yada yada yada. But I truly think that it actually is the common denominator has been Kyle in every one of these losses. Go back to Atlanta, 28 to 3, 25-point lead. You abandon the run. You're calling deep shots with Matt Ryan in that Super Bowl. He comes to the Niners. You have a Super Bowl 2019. You have a 10-point lead. They cannot stop that outside run play with Debo, the jet sweep, and you abandon all of that. You go to the 2021 NFC Championship game. You have another lead. Debo's killing him. You abandon the run once again.
So this year, you really commit to Debo Samuel. It's 3 years too late, man.
Guys, and Niner fans don't want to have this conversation. They refuse to finally say, you know what, Kyle does have character flaws. He doesn't take the accountability. I get it. You just lost a Super Bowl. You're going to be kind of curt on the podium. But I think the day after is the day you can say, you know what, after doing a little self-reflecting, there's some things that I could have done better as a coach. I think that's all Niner fans want to hear. But instead he deflects. Super Bowl, you have a 7-point lead. You not only get an interception in your side or the Chiefs side of the field, but you get them to go 3 and out 2 or 3 more times right after that. And you couldn't get at least a field goal. What do? You go almost 9 straight pass plays, empty set drops. I mean, what are you thinking with an O-line that isn't that great and you're going 4 wide, no McCaffrey, no Debo in the backfield to give him some illusion that, hey, you may do an outside toss or anything to keep him thinking at least for 1 second. I just thought the common denominator just unfortunately just falls back on Kyle, man. And a lot of Niner fans don't want to admit it. They're scared to admit it because they think that it's going to go back into the dark days of the Niner regime back in the mid 2000s with the Dennis Ericksons and Mike Nolans, but they got to unfortunately just say, because I want to ask Niner fans, do you truly think Kyle will win a Super Bowl here? And a lot of Niner fans can't answer that question, or they refuse to, because unfortunately I think the answer is no. He's just not going to win one here.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Sorry, Anthony. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean it is what it is. I've been a diehard my whole life, but look, a lot of teams have fired their coaches that got them close to the chip, and they move on, and you find someone that maybe gets them over the hump. But it took Andy Reid almost 15, 16 years to finally get one. Sometimes it's just a change of scenery, unfortunately. I'm not saying you fire him now. You're not going to get rid of him. They just re-signed him this past year, if I remember correctly. He's not going to go anywhere. But I truly feel that if they have a bad year coming up, and it does remind me of that last Harbaugh year coming up right now. Niner fans don't want to admit it. They do have talent on that team, but I do have that vibe of the Niner. A lot of the players saying, we're tired of this guy. It's just not going to happen. We're wasting our prime years with him. It's not going to happen. And I do get that vibe. So maybe after this year, I think he's on the lukewarm hot seat. We'll see after this coming up year what happens. This year's a big year for him, unfortunately.
Great. Good call, Anthony. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
All right. Take care. Luis Madera says, George Kittle said hi with a vengeance. Grant, you should get RG3 and talk Shanahan's. He only has the nicest thing to say about Shanahan, which is weird. Mr. Banana Hands.
What's up?
What's up?
I want to ask you a few things.
Sure.
What do you think it's going to take for the 49ers to get back next year?
To get back? I mean, they could do it. They're still the best team in the NFC. They need to I don't know, man. They're going to have to get younger. How about that? This team is old and they've played 60 games the last 3 years. How about that? They got to get younger. They got to play young guys. That's my answer.
Yeah. I think it's sad because Shanahan's messing this all up where our team is just getting older and our window's closing fast.
Yep.
So, yeah. And the whole defensive coach situation is bad. Bad look on 49ers with how that worked. Yeah, that's all.
Good call, man. Sorry.
Cool.
Good stuff. All right.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Later. That was good. Short and sweet. Luis, man, it's been a hell of a long time. How you doing?
What's up, my guy? How you doing? I got some tacos for you.
Oh, I'm so hungry right now, man. Hook me up.
Hey, by any chance, did you go and try them out or no?
Nah, I haven't gone yet. Remind me again what it was for the people watching.
On Fremont Boulevard. It's called El Gordo y Flaco.
I bet it's dope. I bet it's hella good.
It's pretty good,
Okay.
bro. It's like right next to a liquor store, so you
All
can't.
right. So
but hey, there's a couple of takes, Grant, that I really want to get off my chest right now. Who are these Niner fans that really want to go all hell for Kyle? Why? So you guys are telling me you guys are acceptable of losing games like in the NFC Championship game and the last 2 Super Bowls, or the last 3 that he lost? Like, come on, bro. It's time to move on. It is time. I don't know how you guys are acceptable with this team right now. And it's obviously clear Jed loves Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly. He obviously gave him extension. There's no point of him. He's really not going to leave this team, bro. And what sucks is that he's never going to take accountability. I'm boycotting the team next year. I don't know about nobody else, but this is unacceptable, bro. The last time I watched them lose the Super Bowl when it was Jim Harbaugh, Grant, I was a sophomore in high school.
Ooh.
I was a sophomore in high school. I was at my friend's house watching that game. I clearly remember I walked out of the freaking apartment saying, this is BS.
Yep.
Then my last 2 games, I watched fucking Kyle fuck it up. Like, excuse my French, but Grant, this is really unacceptable, bro. Really unacceptable. It's just I don't understand, bro. Not only that, like a lot of these people on this team, bro, are not even gonna be back next year.
I know. I know. It hurts. I know, Luis. It hurts.
It does,
I'm
bro.
sorry.
It sucks because I guess clearly Jed is okay with not winning nothing. Like it's just nothing is making sense right now, bro. And it really looks like this what you had to talk with Anthony. It really does look like this team is losing faith in Kyle, Grant. It really does.
I agree. As they should. About time. Luis can call.
But, I got a couple questions for you, Grant.
Sure.
Is there a way that you can make this team, or is there a question that you could ask to make sure that we get accountability for fans and make sure? Because honestly, Grant, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I really don't think we're gonna go next year at all. I think it's gonna be a bad season. That's my preference and what I think. But to be honest, bro, it's hard to get there, especially every season.
Very hard.
And you know what else sucks, bro, is that they never invest in the whole line.
No. And they won't. They will continue to not do that.
And like it's crazy because our left side is perfect from center to left guard to left tackle, but right guard and right tackle is horrible. I saw that Trent Brown is a free agent this year. It would be nice if we could get him back and have him as a right tackle, but we really need to do something this year, Grant. This is
Trent Brown. Interesting. Kind of old, but yeah, they got to get someone. Luis, I got to take one more caller, man.
All right. Next time, I'll hop on next time, Grant. Have a good day. Keep doing your thing.
Have a good one, man. Real quick, Chris Groves. Pay Ayuk, resign JJ, draft B. Rice, trade Debo, post June 1st for a right tackle. Hey, Jed, we're the freaking 49ers. Anything less than a Super Bowl is unacceptable. That's right. All right, F. Farmer, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, Brett?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, man. I think that Kyle, he likes the Kansas City Chiefs. What I believe.
He's a secret fan.
Yeah.
He's a secret fan.
And I think Andy Reid, he should thank him when they do. Well, I know he's going to be inducted in the Hall of Fame one day. He should have Kyle standing right beside him.
Yeah, I would think. Everyone, I want to thank Kyle Shanahan. If none of this would be possible without Kyle. I'm with you on that.
But when are they going to upgrade this offensive line? The right side.
Never. Never. That's the answer. Wish I could help you, man.
I was actually in your area in October. I went to the Arizona game.
Okay.
I went to Cohn's barbecue.
That no longer exists. They torched it.
Really?
They torched it. It was so good. It was the best barbecue on the West Coast. They torched it in the middle of the night. Grease fire. I don't know who they is, but it doesn't exist anymore. I'm mad. Really good brisket that you can't get in California.
The brisket was banging.
Incredible.
I remember
anyway, I gotta take another call, man. F Farmer, good to meet you.
Good meeting you too, buddy. Have a good one.
All right. You too. Zach, take it away. This is your last call of the day.
Oof. Okay.
Oof.
First of all, I think we got to stop wallowing in our sorrows. The game's over. Let's just move on to next season. Number one.
Thank you. What a good last
Number
call.
two, we got to get rid of Debo. Did you watch the QB school on Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl and that shallow crossing route that Debo dropped? That was kind of a low throw. I think it was the first or second quarter. Dude, his effort on that play was awful. He was literally jogging, and then he went, "Oh no, yeah, that one." It was terrible. Terrible.
JC Okobo's been on his ass for years.
But so who do we get for Debo?
How about an offensive lineman, a right tackle?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
That'd be nice. Enough firepower, like protect the quarterback.
Yep. Who would be available on the market?
You could trade him for a pick and draft a guy. Get him on a rookie deal.
True. You think you could get a late first for Debo?
Hopefully.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah. I would think so.
I think he's people still look really highly on him. So I think GMs would give a first. But yeah.
I would think so. I would think so too. One team would.
I'm thinking there's got to be a switch on offense. Get rid of a star. Go sign like a great right tackle or right guard and go from there. But yeah, we got to move on, man. Everybody's way too angry about nothing. It's over.
What? Agree. Thank you very much for Zach. Let's move on and turn the page to next season. Good stuff, Zach. All right, everyone. That's the show. It was an extra long Cohn phone so you guys could express yourselves. Now let's go enjoy the weekend and focus on the future. Sorry, no, you're done, Mr. Banana Hands. We're done. The show's over. It was nice to meet you.